Well, good morning and happy Advent. As this second week of Advent comes to a close, so too does our reflecting upon the visitation, Mary's being with Elizabeth, their conversations there, supporting each other, Mary's experience in Judah. Gospel of Luke in chapter 1 says that Mary remained with Elizabeth for the final 3 months of Elizabeth's pregnancy. And certainly after the birth of John the Baptist, Mary herself would have returned north to Nazareth. I wonder what that was like for Mary, and I think it serves us well to consider the dynamics of her going back home. Extraordinary news in Mary's life brought her to Judah. Extraordinary experience of God in the Annunciation. This extraordinary gift of Jesus Christ in her womb. This extraordinary experience of the fulfillment of God's promise in her. And Mary is safe in Judah. She's supported there. She's loved there. The people in Judah, Elizabeth and her home, like they get Mary. They understand her heart. And then Mary has to go back home. 10, 11, 12 more days of travel now back north to Nazareth. Nazareth would be a different experience for Mary than Judah was. As Mary arrives in Nazareth, she's going to show. It'll be easy for people to see that she's pregnant, and people in Nazareth will gossip about Mary just like they gossip about all of us in our towns. You can just imagine that as Mary is now going back to Nazareth, she's beginning to consider everything that's waiting for her there. The dynamics of people who aren't going to understand her heart, or the conversation that she's going to have with Joseph and her parents, and certainly all that's going through Mary's mind. Mary loves Joseph, she loves her parents, and she certainly loves the Lord. But it would have been real easy for her to, quote unquote, stay in Judah where it's safe. But Mary has to go back to the ordinary circumstances of her life. You know, a lot of times I think there's a little whisper or deception in our own life when we have to, quote unquote, go back to our, as the world would say it, real lives. Oftentimes we've had encounters with God ourselves, or have had powerful breakthroughs in our own relationship with God. And then we have to, quote unquote, go back to the real world, or we have to go back into homes perhaps where people don't understand our hearts. Our marriages can sometimes be strained because one spouse doesn't have the same experience or commitment to God as we do, or our families can be strained because of the same reasons, or it can just be difficult to have to go back to work, or like just pay bills, or like the ordinary rhythm of ordinary life and the ordinary details. And sometimes we can feel a little resistance in our own heart to go back to the ordinary details of our lives. Well, Mary went back. She went back to Nazareth. And you don't have to be afraid to go back or to be in the ordinary details of your life. Be not afraid. God's with you. And as Mary was journeying back to Nazareth, God was with her. And I can only imagine that in the midst of all of those questions going through Mary's heart, Mary would just place her hand on her womb, reminded of who was in that womb. And you don't have to be afraid of life either. God's with you, just like God was with Mary. In fact, Merry Christmas, it's exactly why Jesus came, so that we can know that he's with us in the midst of the ordinary. Let's take a couple seconds and consider what the journey from Judah to Nazareth would have been like for Mary. Ask her to show you what was in her heart, what was going on in her head, what were all the things that were whispering to her as she was on the journey back. And as you do that, maybe even have some conversation with Mary about the ordinary of your life. And let's trust this morning that God is with you as he was with her. God bless you.